Hi people, how are you? Just a new day and a new book and a new review. Today we are going to see Blood Heir by Amélie Wen Zhao, and I have to say I'm very happy to have this book in my hands. When the first readers of the book began publishing their opinions on Twitter, there was the book got called racist. Hint, it isn't. And the author began to get a lot of backlash from Twitter warriors that began saying that the book was racist, that it has to be pulled down. And the worst of it is that there was some people who hadn't even read the book and they were voicing their opinions based on to another person had said. So it ended with Amélie pulling her book back and deciding that she won't publish it. And I'm very happy that somewhere along the line she changed her mind because this book is amazing. And I promise you, it's not a racist book. It's not a book that belittles anyone. And I think it's an amazing book. If you read interviews with the author, you will see that she says that this book, it's like she wants to denounce the human trafficking that happens in some parts of Asia and other regions. And I have to say that with that in mind, reading the book makes a lot of sense. We have here this main character who's called Anna, and she has what's called affinity, and that means that she has some kind of power. And these people who have affinities are being trafficked around and enslaved using contracts. It's something sadly very similar to what happens to human trafficking and to woman trafficking. There is people who think that they have best chances onto another countries and they are lied upon by people who prey under the desperation, and they are used in horrible and despicable ways. And it seems like they have this contract and they have to pay for it, but everything just makes it harder to escape because in case of women trafficking, every night that they have a bed, every night that they have been working selling themselves, instead of lowering the scores, it does the contrary because food, bed, housing, whatever, it keeps on peeling and peeling and peeling, and these people see themselves trapped into this bullshit thing that the system kind of approves, kind of doesn't know how to stop. And meanwhile these people are there losing their lives and their hopes and everything. So this book, it's quite about that. As I say, we're going to follow this main character who's called Anna. It's like somehow a retelling of Anna Mikhailova, the Anastacya. I don't know why it was brought to mind. We have this Anna, this character, and she's on the run, and she wants to have vengeance because she was wrongly accused of murdering her own father. And she hasn't done that, and she has a drawing of the person who did the killing, and she wants to work with a gunman called Ramson because she has been told that he is very good and that he can help her just locate this person, so she can go and say, okay, you were the one that killed my father, and clear my name, and so I can come back to my home and say, hey, I'm innocent. But things get more complicated along the way, and I have to say that I love this world because here we have, as I said before, these people who have these abilities that are called affinities, and we have different kinds of affinities. We have like elemental affinities, they can manipulate earth or wind or fire. We have some others that can manipulate flesh or fears, emotions, and Anna herself can manipulate blood. And it looks like she's one of a kind, and there's this legend about the blood witch of Saskov, I think it was called, because it seems like sometimes some years ago this figure came and killed like 8 persons, snapping her fingers. And it was her, she was a kid, the affinity woken inside her, and she didn't know how to control it, and she was labeled as a monster, and she was told that she has to suppress her side of herself, and she was led to believe that she was a monster. So I know this review is getting all kinds of jumbled, but bear with me please. I have to say that I love how Anna goes from that place in which she has been told that she's less, that she's a monster, that she has to hide who she really is because she's different. And I love how she believes that the world is a good place, and sometimes she feels a lot of anger, and she's mad and she wants revenge. But as the book progresses, you begin to see how she begins to see the world. It's maybe not as good as she thought it was, and she begins to see all those things that she didn't saw when she was inside the palace. She begins to see the slavery, how the other affinities are treated, and she begins to see that maybe she's not a monster, that maybe she has a choice, that she can choose to be bad or to be good. And really what defines what a person is, it's the choices that the person takes. So for me, it was a very incredible art to see how Anna began the book being so mad and so full of hatred, and see how she evolves to this new persona. And also, she goes with another character, another main character that's called Ramson. She's a con man. He is like a cheater. He is always making trades, and he's always, conning people. And we are going to learn about his past, about where he went wrong or south or whatever, where he lost his way and he began to be the person that he is now. And I love to see how consistent he is, and how everything makes sense when you begin to discover what these characters have in their past, how their actions and the things that happen to them shape who they are now. And I like how much they change and evolve. And I love that the characters are at work in evolvement and movement, and how they keep on changing and accepting and evolving and being more mature with every page. I have to say that I love the characters of this book so much that we are going to find other secondary characters, some with affinities, some without them. And I love how all the characters of this book are so amazing and are so, for me, they were very real because they are not perfect. They come from dark places, some of them are broken, and I love how they are trying to pull themselves together and just find a way in which they can survive. And then suddenly they began to thinking that maybe there is something else rather than surviving that they can be doing, like, I don't know, finding the morals or finding the really what they want to do with their life. So as I say, I really love the arcs of these characters. And I have to say that I love the world that the author has created. We have a little map at the beginning, and we are going to see this new place, this new world, and everything. It's going to be explained to us in a way that everything makes sense, that you learn about the different cities, about the different cultures, about the different people. And I love how well constructed the world is, and how every city, every place has their deities, their lore, their religions, everything. The people have different ways of acting, and I love that. And I love how well constructed it is, how easily you can be pulled into this world and begin to discover it, and it all makes sense to you. And I think that's very important, because sometimes when you are pulled inside a fantasy, it's like nothing really feels solid. And in this case, I have to say that the world building, it's amazing, and I love how she feeds you the information bit by bit and puts you in a place where you can get what everything is, and everything makes sense. I have to say that if you love books of fantasy, dark fantasy, where you can see that there is nuances, things that can relate this fantasy world with the world we have. If you like books that makes you think, because sometimes there are some parts of this book that are very hard when it touches into slavery, the human trafficking, and how sometimes people are judged because they are different. I mean, it really makes you think about the world we have now, and about the things that are happening and going on around us, and how maybe sometimes we can help or sometimes we don't know how. But if you keep looking at something and you do nothing to stop that something, maybe you are not exactly guilty by association, but it's a very difficult rope to walk. I think that this book is amazing, and you really have to give it a chance, because it's amazing. I really love these characters, how they fight for finding themselves, and I love how broken they are when you begin the book, how different they are, and how many chances they give themselves to keep on evolving. There are times in which the rage and the hatred are too much for them, and they lose themselves. And for me, it was very relatable because it's real life. They are not perfect. They are not heroes. They're just normal people who are trying to do something, they're trying to make a change in the world. And sometimes they don't know how to, and then sometimes they are scared, and sometimes they are full of hatred, and sometimes they are happy to see that they are really making progress. So for me, that was amazing to have these rounded characters. I know that I'm talking more about the characters than the plot itself, but I don't want to reveal too much because there is a lot of things going on, a lot of mystery, kind of thrillery. Who killed the emperor? Why? What the emperor got killed? There's a lot of con things going around, and I don't want to spoil the book for anyone. So I'm centering myself on the characters that for me were amazing. So yeah, I think that you can read the first 5 chapters on internet. So check them out because the book is amazing, and I can assure you you're going to love it. So thank you for watching. Bye.